Earlier this evening, I caught up with State Minister Dilan Perera on the melodrama surrounding the proposed Super Minister and the bill.
Every day, we hear stories of the Development Special Provisions Bill being defeated at countless provincial councils. It's as though we are living in a melodrama. What is going on?
Well, there's no drama in it because all the provincial council, irrespective of whether it's in the north, east, centre or the south, well, they know that this piece of legislation is atrocious, and this piece of legislation only serves one purpose, that is bringing in a Superman minister. So nobody will like it.
The 19th Amendment to the Constitution saw executive powers being curtailed of the President himself. However, this bill proposes to centralize power to one person.
Precisely so, precisely so. We are living in an era where the President is giving up his powers. We are living in an era, we are talking about devolution of power, we are talking about delegating powers. But here, it seems that something very contradictory to the principal way of governing in this country today is happening. I must say, you need a one-stop shop for investors to come in. But then, labeling this bill as one-stop shop, you can't have a one-stop minister.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party went to town over the central bank bond issue. However, there seems to be a lull now. Why is that?
Well, it's very clear why the lull is. The SLFP not only went to town, it was Mr. Mahinda Amaraveera, the Secretary General of the Alliance, who went and first complained about the central bank issue to the Bribery Commission. And it was because of us and because of the President that we were able to see that the term of the Governor of Central Bank, Mr. Mahendran, was not extended. So what is happening right now, there's a COPE report presented to Parliament. That report has to be debated in Parliament, and the Parliament, via Speaker, must decide what to do. There were certain COPE reports like Mr. Vijayaratha Rajapaksa's COPE report, which was a very good COPE report, that also ended up in the shelves of the Parliament Library or in the cupboards of the Attorney General Department. Why? It was not sent through the Parliament process. So here, we must now debate this COPE report in Parliament in January, and then Parliament must decide through the Speaker that it must be sent to the Attorney General. And also, I feel that we must also, through Parliament, make a request from His Excellency the President to appoint a special presidential committee to probe this bond scam, which is the highest daylight robbery in the history of Sri Lanka.
So are you saying that the COPE report will be debated in Parliament in January?
It has to be debated in Parliament, and the SLFP, the JVP and even the TNA are of the opinion that it must be debated in Parliament in January.
Let's talk about corruption. So many agencies, so many law enforcement bodies to crack down on corruption. You have the Bribery Commission, you have the FCID, the CCD, the CID, the Pressifac. All these commissions and bodies. However, so much of delays.
Too many cooks spoil the soup. Very simple. Well, nothing is happening regarding the big fish. Nothing is happening regarding the so-called big scandals that the entire country discussed during the last presidential election. Only the small fish are being caught. So I think the government must rest together and see that we have one particular institution to sort of deal with the big issues, big scandals, rather than having so many, as I said earlier, will lead to too many cooks spoiling the soup.